up because I have 20 fragrances with me here from the brand Snif, and today we're gonna rank them. This video is in no way, shape, or form sponsored or in partnership with Snif. I purchased all of these with my own money, and I'm gonna be giving you a lowdown on which ones are worth your money and which ones are not. Fragrance is obviously extremely subjective, so these are just my personal rankings on these fragrances. That being said, let's go ahead and hop right into the ranking. But before we get started, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below, give this video a big thumbs up, and turn your post notifications on so that you never miss a video. So if you're not familiar with the brand Snif, just a little bit about them. Snif is an affordable fragrance brand. For a while, you could only purchase Snif online, and they have recently come into Ulta, which is great because Snif has some scents that I would say are a little bit more experimental, that are not necessarily blind buy safe. I definitely have some favorite fragrances from this brand, but definitely a few are not up my alley. So let's start with last place, or number 20 in our ranking. So a couple months ago, they released a hotcakes collection with a pancake scented perfume and then like topping scented body mists. Some of them were good, but one of them was so bad that it has earned the ranking of number 20. So in last place is their Hazel Split Body Mist. I know some people love this. I personally can't stand it. So this is top notes of cocoa, hazelnut, and banana, mid notes of coconut, and base notes of amberwood and musk. The thing that I cannot get past with this fragrance is just how artificial it smells. It smells like a chocolate scented like lip smackers from the early 2000s. I think in theory, if this one would have smelled like photorealistic chocolate, hazelnut, and banana, like a Nutella banana scented body mist, I would be all over it. But because this one just smells so artificial and sickly sweet, I just can't stand it. I've kind of just been hanging on to this because I knew I wanted to film this video, but this one is definitely gonna find another home because I do not like this. Okay, in 19th place is one of, I believe, their first collaborations that they ever did with an influencer, I want to say, and that is Vow Factor. Okay, this one has notes of fig, galbanum, and mandarin orange. Middle notes of neroli, rose, and orris, and base notes of cedarwood, ambrette, and tonka bean. All I get from this is just an overwhelmingly green fragrance. And while I have some more like green leaning perfumes in my collection, this one is just not for me. In my opinion, this smells like the leaf or the stem of a plant. And even though you get a little bit of sweetness from that fig, overwhelmingly, this one is just not my favorite. It falls completely out of the realm of fragrances that I enjoy. And because of that, this one has earned the spot of 19th place. So in 18th place is Natural Talent. So this has notes of apricot, osmanthus, suede, jasmine, cistus, and canis. I don't know what that is. Clementine and sandalwood. So upon reading those notes, this seems like something I could possibly enjoy, but upon smelling it, it is truly just not for me. So this is a very fruity and woody fragrance, and I would say this is completely unisex, leaning a little bit more masculine, and it's just not a scent I would really ever reach for. Although it has some of those fruity notes, this is not sweet at all by any means. It's more like an apricot skin and like a clementine rind versus like the sweet fleshy part of the fruit. I feel like this is the kind of fragrance that Snif did a lot when the brand first started, and they have kind of since moved away from this, but there are a few in this ranking that kind of fall into this same category. Very earthy, very unisex, just not something I am really ever reaching for or something I personally would ever wear. If you're someone who likes more of those natural smelling scents, you might enjoy this, but personally, it is just not for me. In 17th place is another one of those fragrances, kind of like I just described, where it's very like unisex, very earthy smelling, very natural kind of type vibes. And that is Golden Ticket. So this one is a true tea fragrance, but not like a tea latte or a tea with sugar, like the actual tea leaves. So this one has notes of black tea, green tea, mate, sage, bergamot incense, vetiver, and amber. So this one on Fragrantica is described as being an aromatic and green scent, and I completely agree. The only reason I rank this one higher than Natural Talent is because I like a tea fragrance, and I do find this one to be a little bit more unique than Natural Talent, but honestly, I wouldn't really wear either of them. Neither of them are like a fragrance that I'm reaching for very often. And that is why this one has earned 17th place. In 16th place is a scent that when I ordered and read the notes, I thought I was going to absolutely love. But unfortunately, when it arrived in the mail, I realized that it is just not a scent for me. So that is House of 8. That has notes of chocolate, lavender, sage, vanilla, iris, sandalwood, and heliotrope. This is a beautiful fragrance, but the reason that this one ranked so low is because this one is definitely more of a masculine leaning fragrance, and so it's just not one that I am reaching towards. It definitely does smell like chocolate and lavender and vanilla and all of the notes that are listed, but with like absolutely zero sweetness to it. So I would say instead of chocolate, maybe this is more like cocoa powder, like that true completely unsweetened cocoa powder, and then a very sharp lavender versus like a sweet and creamy lavender. If you or someone in your life loves to wear more of these like cologne / masculine leaning perfumes, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. But personally, this is just not one that is for me. In 15th place is another kind of early release from Snif, so it also really falls into that like unisex earthy category, and that is Sweet Ash. So this one has notes of balsam fir, juniper, moss, vanilla bean, tonka bean, bergamot, and patchouli. So with this one, this is definitely their take on Baccarat Rouge. How I would describe this though is if you had Baccarat Rouge, but you removed all of the sweetness from it. So I know Baccarat Rouge has like a pine or balsam note, I want to say, something like in that realm. And this is definitely a little bit more smoky and a little bit more green than Baccarat Rouge. I know a lot of people love this fragrance, and I do think it was extremely well done. I do think there are aspects of this fragrance that I like. I'm just, again, personally not reaching for it. But because I have such a weakness for like Baccarat Rouge inspired fragrances, that is why this one ranked 15th. Okay, in 14th place, and this was a release I was so excited for, but unfortunately it just didn't quite work for me, and that is Me. So this one, in case you can't tell from the name, is supposed to be kind of inspired by Glossier You. So I would say this one smells like Glossier You, but with an added peach note and then a little bit more woody. So this one has top notes of peach and plum, middle notes of orris and caramel, base notes of musk, sandalwood, moss, and orchinox. Don't quite know what that is. If you like Glossier You and you like things that maybe lean a little bit more woody, you might enjoy this one. You do really get that peach note from this, that is for sure, but there was something about this that was just a little bit too heavy for me, and I sprayed just like a couple spritzes of this, and it was so strong. When I'm wearing kind of a skin scent or something in more of that vein, I personally like it to wear a little bit closer and lighter to me, kind of a your skin but better. For skin scents like Glossier You or Clean Reserve Skin, I feel like it's you wearing the perfume. Whereas this one, as a skin scent, this felt like it was wearing me. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just wasn't a favorite, unfortunately, and not one that I ever reach for. If you know anything about my scent preferences, number 13 might come as a little bit of a shock to you, but unfortunately for this one, it was just not a winner to me. So that is Vanilla Vice. So this has notes of Madagascar vanilla, amberwood, sugar, musk, orchinox, ice cream, and jasmine sambac. So when this one was marketed, it was like with pictures of like melted ice cream, vanilla, and I thought this was going to smell like a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and that is unfortunately not at all what I get from this. So this is a vanilla fragrance, definitely. I get something so heavy and syrupy. Like, I would say this is closer to like a vanilla simple syrup instead of like a vanilla ice cream. Unfortunately, this one falls flat for me. I did want to sample it, but I definitely do not want a full bottle of this fragrance. I don't know how else to describe it except for I just don't like it. Okay, so number 12 goes to Tarte Deco. So this has top notes of black cherry and raspberry, middle notes of jasmine, rose, and mimosa, and base notes of vanilla, birch, and vetiver. This is a cherry fragrance. If you have a cherry fragrance or if you've smelled like Tom Ford Lost Cherry, that's what this is. Tarte Deco is by no means a bad fragrance. It is just a cherry fragrance. Like, there's not really anything special. There's not really any sort of nuance to it. I'm personally just not a cherry fragrance fan. If you like cherry, you would probably like this. It's just not something that I find myself really gravitating towards. I kind of find a lot of cherry fragrances come off as like cough syrupy. And unfortunately, I feel like that one falls into that category as well. I couldn't really rank it any higher. So I feel like I was pretty negative about the last 9 scents. Those were just ones that didn't resonate with me at all. And the next 12 scents are the reason why I absolutely love this brand. I will give the caveat that a lot of these are a little bit more unique, so maybe not blind buy safe, but all of the scents going forward are likes, if not loves. So in 11th place is the scent Hotcakes. So this smells exactly like a stack of pancakes with a melted butter and maple syrup. So the top notes on this are butter and buttermilk. The middle notes are pancake, syrup, and maple. And the base note is musk. You have to love a gourmand in order to like this one. And that is why this one is ranked a little bit lower, because this is not for the faint of heart. And this is definitely not a scent I feel like I can reach for every single day because it is so sweet and so food-like. They did an absolutely phenomenal job with this scent, but if you wanna wear this, you have to be committed to smelling like maple syrup and pancakes all day long. This is so decadent, and I am very, very excited to be wearing this in the fall and winter seasons. They released this, I think it was like the beginning of summer, which was very, very confusing because if you're wearing hotcakes in summer, you are brave. Okay, in 10th place is Rose Era. So this has notes of damask rose, strawberry, soap, pear, dewdrop, fabric, ambrette, woody notes, saffron, moss, and orchinox. So in case you can't gather from the notes and the name, this is a rose fragrance. This is a very fresh, light, sweet, feminine rose. If you are looking for like the ultimate spring fragrance, this is it. This one's a sweet rose and strawberry. It's just very light, very fresh. I'm personally not someone who is overwhelmingly in love with rose fragrances, but I do still find myself reaching for this one relatively often, and they did such a beautiful job with this. I considered wearing this one for my wedding. I think it would make a beautiful bridal fragrance. It's just so light and feminine and pretty. Okay, in 9th place, I actually don't have this one with me because I did pass this one along to a friend, despite the fact that I do love it. It's just that I have so many mists and fragrances and perfumes that I knew it would get more love somewhere else. So in 9th place is Berry Styles. So this was another one of the topping fragrances that came out with the Hotcakes collection. And this one has notes of blueberry, raspberry, lime, middle notes of freesia, and base notes of vanilla. So in this fragrance, I get like a raspberry candy with lime, and then I do get something a teeny tiny bit creamy from that freesia and that vanilla. But otherwise, I really find this one to just be like a candy, raspberry, and lime scent. It's so good, and it's really, really fun for summer. If you like something a little bit sweeter and a little bit fruitier, this one might be for you. I would recommend checking it out. Their body mists, I would say, have okay lasting power. Definitely their fragrances last longer, but they do have a lot of fun scents in the body mists. In 8th place is Cocoa Shimmy. So this one has top notes of coconut and pineapple, middle notes of suntan lotion and surf wax, and base notes of tonka bean and sandalwood. This one is truly just like a beach sunscreen scent. Like, I guarantee that you already know what this smells like. I do, however, love that type of fragrance. I definitely have a lot in my collection that kind of are in this similar category. This one is so fun for summer. I would say this one does lean a little bit more fruity than some of the more sunscreeny, beachy type scents. I do love this one though, even though this one is not super unique. It's pretty just generic beach coconutty type fragrance, but it is still very, very good. And I actually have gotten quite a few compliments on this one when I wear it. In 7th place is a fragrance that I definitely want to get a full bottle of eventually, and that is Citrus Circus. So this is like a true creamsicle scent. So this has notes of creamsicle, lemon soda, grapefruit, lime peel, neroli, white amber, cedar, and violet. So you definitely get that creamsicle note right off the bat. It's very vanilla-y, ice creamy with that true citrus, but you also do get a little bit more of like a punch of citrus from the grapefruit and lime peel. And as this one settles, I would say you definitely get more of that neroli, more of that cedar violet base, but this is so fun. And it just smells delicious and edible and is so fun for spring and summer. So in sixth place, this fragrance is from their No Noses collection. This is what they consider to be their like secret menu, where they do definitely a lot more experimental type scents. They literally have a scent in this collection that is supposed to smell like gasoline. But number 6 goes to Soda Snob. So this has notes of Coca-Cola, lime, cinnamon, caramel, vanilla, and jasmine. This really does smell like you are drinking a fresh, fizzy glass of Coca-Cola with a squeeze of lime, but as it dries, you get something very spicy. I think this one is gonna be perfect for fall and winter because it does have a bit of a punch to it with that cinnamon, but this is very delicious. If you like the smell of Coke or you are looking for a Coke inspired fragrance, I would recommend checking this one out. Okay, we have finally made it to my top 5. So in 5th place is another fragrance that is from the No Noses collection from Snif, and that is Crumb Couture. I feel like this one really went viral and made waves when it was first released because this is a true foodie, photorealistic gourmand scent that they somehow were able to make extremely wearable. Like, let me read you these notes. So this has notes of croissant, vanilla, black currant, tonka bean, sandalwood, and rose jam. This smells like you are eating a warm, buttery, flaky croissant with some berry jam. It's definitely one I think you should get your nose on if you are a gourmand lover. I think that even if you're someone who doesn't like gourmand scents, you might actually like this one. And somehow this one has like almost a freshness to it or a lightness to it that you can get away with this one in warmer months as well. I will say, however, I did purchase the candle of it and that one was extremely stinky. I don't know why. It's supposed to be the exact same scent, but I was not a fan of it in the candle. So just be warned. Okay, in 4th place is the last fragrance that came out in their hotcakes collection, and that is Extra Whip. If you love a vanilla and you want to smell like whipped cream, you need to pick this one up. You need to smell this one. This is a true vanilla whipped cream fragrance. So this one smells truly like a fresh can of whipped cream. It even has a note of aldehydes in it, which give it kind of a cold element. So it feels like you just took the can right out of the fridge. So this one has top notes of aldehydes and sugar, middle notes of whipped cream, and then a base of vanilla, sandalwood, and musk. I also feel like because it's in the body mist form, it is just like a little bit lighter and it somehow adds to like the whipped creamness of the scent. But this one is so fun and delicious, and I also think this makes a great layering fragrance if you want to sweeten up or add sort of like a whipped cream note to any of your fragrances. All right, in 3rd place is another No Noses scent, and this is Sweet Tooth. So I just have a little sample of this here, but I will eventually want to purchase a full bottle of this. So the marketing for Sweet Tooth was very much like Swedish candy type vibes. So this one has notes of watermelon, sugar, raspberry, violet, musk, and cedarwood. This smells exactly like a Sour Patch watermelon candy. You have that kind of artificial watermelon scent, so you definitely need to like that. You definitely need to be someone that likes that candy type scent. As this one dries down though, you definitely get something very almost creamy from that violet and that cedarwood that makes it so yummy. Love this one, and that is why it has earned the spot of number 3. So we are finally at the top 2, and I kind of went back and forth between these two scents because they are kind of similar, but they also are each quite unique. They're definitely like sister/cousin fragrances. So in 2nd place is Heal the Way. So this was in collaboration with Alex L, and this has notes of vanilla absolute, pistachio, palo santo, musk, amber, and divana. So this was actually a scent that I completely blind bought because when I saw the notes, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to love this, and I was correct. So you have that super sweet and creamy vanilla, a little bit of nuttiness from the pistachio, and then I really get kind of a Palo Santo note in the background that gives this a beautiful, like earthy, almost smoky coziness to it that just makes this the most delicious, soft, sweet, comforting fragrance that I truly, truly love. So if you're into gourmands at all, definitely I would recommend checking this one out and picking this one up because it is so beautiful and so delicious. So that means in first place is Gentle Reminder. So this is the second perfume that was launched from Snif in collaboration with Alex L. Because I like Teal the Way so much, as soon as I heard that this one was coming out and I saw the notes, I just blind bought it, and I am so glad that I did. This one has top notes of sugar, milk, dates, and black tea, middle notes of purple yam and lavender, and then a base note of Palo Santo. If you've ever had an ube milk tea, and ube is that purple yam note, that is exactly what this smells like. This is sweet and creamy and ever so slightly earthy from that black tea note. And also has this very light and comforting lavender note, and then that Palo Santo gives it this beautiful, woody, ever so slightly almost smoky note to it. And as soon as I smelled this one, it just completely blew me away. I think this is a scent you could get away with any time of year, because even though this one leans towards the gourmand category, it still is so light and fresh and delicious, and it's just an absolute love for me, which is why this one has earned the spot of #1. So that concludes my Snif rankings. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below of your favorite Snif fragrance. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you love any sort of fragrance or beauty content. I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.